So I have this film professor who I really admire. I've taken 2 of his classes, and he was pretty much my introduction into film as something serious that I want to pursue, like because of his classes. So pivotal role in my life, and pretty much just the boss of a person. So I'm at this event that I lotteried into, and it's Steven Spielberg giving a talk, so it's like in conversation with Steven Spielberg. Everyone's trying to find a seat, and I'm, you know, standing on the 3rd step up, looking into the audience, trying to find somewhere to sit. I'm like looking around, like trying to find somebody that I know, like scanning the room, like really trying to see where am I gonna sit, like where is best to be sitting. And I look to my side, and it's my professor. He's standing right there and has been looking at me like this entire time. I didn't notice him at all. He was right next to me. I was caught completely off guard. I was not expecting to see him, and I don't know why I wasn't expecting to see him, because of course if Steven Spielberg is coming to campus, the major film professors are going to be there. And I'm someone who likes to hug people when I haven't seen them in a while, and even though I'd taken 2 of his classes and had felt so impacted by him, I had never actually given him a hug, even though I really wanted to. And he has a certain formality about him, and formality and intimacy are not usually afforded in the same space. So I'm like, I don't even know the nature of our relationship affords me the opportunity to give you a hug right now. The audience is looking in this direction right now. I have to find a seat. Like, what am I supposed to do? So he's all dignified and he says, hello. And I say, hi. I don't even know if I asked him how he was. Like, oh, it was so bad. I did not go for the hug. I was not bold. Later that year, when I decided to switch my major to film, I wound up having a conversation with him, and at the end of that conversation, I gave him a hug, and it was the most glorious hug because I've been waiting to give it for so long.
A couple of years ago, I had the opportunity to visit San Francisco for a day when I was in Northern California for a week, and it was absolutely perfect, and I never wanted to leave. Just going to San Francisco for the first time and being able to enjoy the city I've always wanted to go visit, my favorite city. Walking into a Lush for the first time ever, going to Japantown, seeing the Fisherman's Wharf for the first time, and being that tourist and eating In-N-Out for the first time. Being in San Francisco for those couple of hours, it was pretty much the one and only time that I was genuinely happy in a very long time. Traveling is a very awesome thing, but when you end up going to that one particular place that is really meaningful to you, your favorite place, and the one place that really makes you happy, is just really awesome, and being able to do that all over again would be great. Maybe not that particular day a couple of years ago, but just being able to do it again in the future, that would be a lot better than actually going back in time and doing it all over again.
Historically, I've been known to easily embarrass myself, but I just like to think of it as a part of my artistic experience, so I don't see what would make the situation any different. So when I was about 13 to 14 years old, I was experimenting with the idea of trying to combine art and music on stage. I was definitely on my let's be spontaneous and adventurous kick, so I'm sure you can imagine my excitement for the school talent show that year. I was a brand new student, I had a clean slate, I was a freshman, so why not come into this place with a bang, right? So as the show started to come around and I was brainstorming ideas of what to do, nothing was really coming of it, and then it just came to me. Jungle clusterfuck, in so many words. I decided that my performance was going to be this massively epic, jungle-themed extravaganza that even Baloo would pop his pussy to. But since I obviously couldn't bring the school to the jungle, I decided to bring the jungle to the school. I'm not kidding. So from there on began the arduous and awkward journey of asking every teacher in the entire school if I could borrow their potted tree plants. It gets better. Since I had no friends to assist me in my efforts, I was forced to baby step every potted plant down a hallway that seemed to be a mile long. Do you want to know how I got these scars? The actual show itself went over fine. It's not like I painted my hair white, violently ate a mango on stage, jumped into a crowd of my peers, and ran all the way across the hallway, defining my entire high school experience.
Throughout middle school and high school, I went through so bad of internal depression due to the fact the way I looked. I looked normal. I looked completely normal. But this idea that media puts in your head that you have to be a certain height, a certain weight, a certain look. Our generation looks at females this way, however males go through this the same way as females, they just might not be as vocal. So I guess my do-over would be to be confident in who I was back then as where I am now. And I can't honestly say that I am cure-all, because I still look at myself in the mirror and it's like, wow, I could be better, I could be better, I could be better. But if I had this mindset in middle school or in high school saying, wow, I am good for who I am. I'm fit. I can run half marathons and full marathons without an issue. I might not look like that, I might not be model status, but I can do all these things that people who even maybe more fit than I am can't do. So I think you have to step back and look, wow, am I the perfect me, instead of, am I the perfect me that fits in the mold of what society says is a perfect me?
So my senior year in college, we in the education department had to pass this big standardized test. If we didn't, their laws were changing the next year and we were gonna get licensed in fewer grades, and I wouldn't be given my degree, and I wouldn't be licensed to teach after I graduated. So this was kind of a big deal. Well, I passed all but one of the sections by 3/10 of a point. 3/10. I don't remember what section it was. It was kind of a long time ago. But the thing is, that summer I managed to retake it and pass it just fine after walking through the graduation line and receiving an empty thing where my graduation degree certificate thing should have been. It was kind of insulting. So finally I was awarded my degree, but then the dean at my alma mater, I'm not at school there anymore, still pulling strings, says, well, because of the licensure change on the state level, you're gonna have to take Arkansas history now before you'll be licensed, and before I'll tell the state Board of Education that you did everything for us. So I got a hold of the State Board of Education, and they said, oh, well, nah, if your college is cool with it, we'll go ahead and give you your license. It's no big deal. Since it's kind of on the borderland of before and after this change, yeah, well, yeah. And I went back and forth between the dean and the State Board, both of them saying, oh, the other guy. The other guy. And then my principal, who is trying to give me a job, she wants me to work at her school, gets him on the phone, trying to work it out in a diplomatic manner, professional to professional. He begins to slander me. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm pretty sure that's a butthole move. I said it. So I put off taking that extra class that was unjust and unfair and not right because I spent all that extra time trying to get around a very unpleasant tyrant type person. I could teach that first year with a temporary teaching license, so I was an official real teacher for 1 year, but that expired the next year before I took the class, and then there weren't openings in what I wanted, and so I took this and that, and so my career was kind of off track for 8 years because the thing I went to school for that I wanted to do wasn't available anymore. So if I had a do-over, maybe I would have studied harder for that one section of the test. Another option could be to punch a certain person in the mouth. As a grown-up, you win some and you lose some. Life is not fair and people can suck. What counts is not whether or not a tyrannical Napoleonic nobody gets their way or not. What counts is that you are doing what it takes to make your dreams happen. It may take years, it may not make sense to anyone else, but it does not happen by you sitting on your duff.
And we did it. Season 1 is done. 124 storytellers, 130 stories, whether it being one line or a 5-minute piece.
That's pretty cool. We are not going on a long hiatus in between seasons as projects do. Season 2 of One Time Stories will start in the beginning of April, and I will be back next week to talk about some updates that will happen here, specifically including better ways for you to be able to be a part of One Time Stories. So I'm excited about that. Something we will let you know now, but if you follow us in any of the other places, you will already know this. We have a new logo. That's right. This is the last time you're gonna see that really crappy old logo that I put together because I thought this was just a one-time thing and I was never gonna do it again. Whew. Not many YouTube projects can say that they've collaborated with 124 YouTubers, so... whatever.